Audio 8.1.
According to a recent World Happiness Report, Denmark is the happiest country in the world. But just why is that? And what, if anything, can other countries learn from it? The first point to make is that clearly Denmark and most of the other countries in the top 10 don't have much poverty. Money may not buy happiness, but a strong economy certainly helps. However, if you look a bit further down the list, you'll see that money isn't everything. Mexico, for example, comes higher up the list than the United States. Money doesn't make you happy unless everyone has enough. Big differences between rich and poor tend to make people unhappier. Also, just because a country is rich, it doesn't mean that it looks after its people well. Many people in the United States, for example, don't have free health care. But if a country has quite high taxes, like Denmark, it can provide free health care to everyone. You may not believe that you'll be happier if you pay higher taxes, but as a country, you will. And Danish people have a healthy lifestyle too. They tend to eat a balanced diet and get plenty of physical exercise. In fact, 50% of trips to work and school in Copenhagen are made by bicycle rather than car or bus. As well as the positive impact on reducing pollution, doctors estimate that if you can cycle for 30 minutes a day, it may add 1 to 2 years to your life. Denmark is also a very equal society. There aren't big differences between rich and poor, and men and women are treated equally too. Both parents are allowed paid time off work after the birth of a baby, and they can decide how to share the time. It's a very family-friendly country with free or very cheap childcare provided by the government. The Danes only work 37 hours a week on average. If people work a 37-hour week, they have quite a lot of leisure time, and the Danes spend much of this time socializing and enjoying cultural activities. The winter may be cold and dark, but there is a special term, hygge, to describe a kind of cozy meeting with friends and family. People light candles, keep warm, and eat delicious food together. And finally, more than 40% of Danes use their extra leisure time to do voluntary work, helping their neighbours. I'm beginning to see just why it's such a great place to live.
Audio 8.2. 1.
If people spend more than an hour travelling to work, they are generally less content.
2.
Unless you have some close friendships, you will find it hard to be happy.
3.
If you do regular exercise outdoors, you'll be able to work more efficiently.
4.
People tend to be happier if they are in a long-term relationship.
5.
If people are active in work and free time, they'll probably be healthier.
Audio 8.3. 1.
If I were braver, I might be a firefighter.
2.
We could volunteer more if we had more time.
3.
What would you do if you saw someone being robbed?
4.
If we won the lottery, we could give some money to charity.
5.
I wouldn't do a job if it were risky or dangerous.
6.
He'd be so embarrassed if he knew people were talking about his heroism.
Audio 8.4.
Changing sounds when we link words. Speaking at natural speed, we often change the last sound of a word to make it easier to say the words together. For example, when one word ends in sounds t or d, and the next word starts with sounds such as b, p, k, g, and m. Listening to natural speech, these changes can make groups of words more difficult to understand. For example, we write would move, but we say would move. We write that place, but we say that place.
Audio 8.5. 1,
Red pram.
2,
Could be.
3,
White coffee.
4,
Mild coffee.
5,
Should go.
6,
Coal metal.
7,
Hot pepper.
8,
Hot milk.
Audio 8.6.
If you could pick anywhere in the world to live, where would you go? Iceland might not be the most obvious choice, but I don't regret moving here. I came to study earth science at the University of Iceland. Iceland has volcanoes, glaciers, and earthquakes. What can't you see here? I came to study the natural world, but I stayed in Iceland because I love the way of life.
Audio 8.7.
There was a bit of culture shock at first. I was surprised at just how much time people spend outdoors. People are close to nature in a way that many other countries have forgotten, and even when the temperatures are freezing, people love getting out into the fresh air. Look outside any cafe, and you're likely to see lots of babies sleeping outside in prams. Icelanders believe that the cold, fresh air could be good for their health and helps them sleep better. And no one worries about their safety. Crime rates are very low indeed. I also found it hard to get used to the way that time seems to have no meaning here. If friends arrange to meet between 7:30 and 8, you'd better not be surprised if they don't turn up until about 9:30. At first, this used to drive me mad. I thought people were being really rude. Gradually, though, I realised that it wasn't rudeness. People just don't worry about punctuality the way we do at home. The education system is much more relaxed too. There isn't the same emphasis on tests and exams. In primary school, children spend a lot of time playing outside and learning practical skills such as knitting. But they are still very highly educated in the end, and apparently 1 in 10 Icelanders is a published author. The food took a bit of getting used to as well. There are some dishes I had to be persuaded to try, like sheep's head or shark. But my husband, Gustav, is such a good cook that he can make most things taste nice.
Audio 8.8.
Hello, everyone. My name is Stuart French, and I'm here to talk to you about something we all have to do about 70 times every day. Make a decision. Obviously, some are more straightforward than others. Most people don't have too much trouble deciding what to have for breakfast, for example, but some decisions can be a lot trickier. So, in today's talk, I'm going to look at how understanding the decision-making process can help us to make better decisions when we really need to. First, I want to tell you about some factors that affect our decision-making. Then I'll talk about methods people use to make decisions. And finally, I'll give you some tips about decision making.
Audio 8.9.
So, what factors affect our decision making? The first thing I'd like to mention is the number of decisions we make. Recent research seems to show that making conscious decisions actually makes the brain feel tired. As we make more and more decisions, we become less effective. So, if you have an important decision to make, it's probably best to do it early in the day before you've had to make too many other, less important decisions. Another major factor that affects our decision making is how much information we have to consider. It's obviously a good idea to have some information before we make a decision. However, studies show that if we have too much information to deal with, we're more likely to make the wrong decision. It seems that it's just too much for our brains. The third and last factor I want to mention today is stress. Researchers have found that people making decisions under stress are more likely to think about the possible positive results of a decision and less likely to think about the negatives. So, if you're under stress at work and trying to decide whether to leave, you're more likely to think about how great it will feel to leave and less about how you'll actually get a new job.
Audio 8.10.
Now, let's move on to look at how to make a decision. One common method is to gather the necessary information, but not too much, remember. List the possible solutions and set a time limit. This helps you to be more decisive. Another useful thing to do is to make 2 lists on a piece of paper, the advantages and the disadvantages, and then see if you have more advantages than disadvantages and how important each one is. In fact, Charles Darwin, the great evolutionary scientist, is said to have used this method to decide whether to ask his girlfriend to marry him. Not a great romantic, though. Many people believe that it's sometimes a good idea to be guided by our heart, our gut feeling. So remember that overthinking things can sometimes make your decision-making ability worse. So, we've looked at some of the things that affect our ability to make decisions and some ways to make decisions. Now I'd like to finish with a tip. Decision-making can be a difficult and complicated process. Don't expect everyone to agree with your decisions, and be prepared to accept that sometimes you will make the wrong choices. Are there any questions?
Audio 8.11. 1.
If you spend it on the right things, money can buy happiness.
2.
Most people will be happier if you spend time with them rather than spend money on them.
3.
If you're going on holiday, you will be happier if you pay for it straight away.
4.
People should buy experiences rather than things, especially if they are older.
5.
People don't enjoy things as much unless they have to work hard for them.
Audio 8.12. 1.
If I were president of my country,
2.
I would move to another country if...
3.
if I spoke fluent English,
4.
I could earn more money if...
5.
if I had more money,
6.
I'd be happier if...